Eddie Masterson, United States Army, Vietnam. Folks, this is a long-awaited second interview I did with Ed Masterson last month, April 16th, 2024 in Scottsdale, Arizona. It was so good to see Ed. He's one of my heroes, one of my best friends, and I just love this man. He tells a great story. His first video that I did almost 20 years ago is one of my most watched videos on this YouTube channel. And folks, I don't monetize these videos. I'm just going to say that right now. I'm not going to interrupt a story like this or Jerry McNally's or anybody else. And I'm just glad I don't have to do that. So you get to hear the whole interview. It went over an hour, well over an hour. And you're going to see Eddie. He's aged. He's got some health problems, but he's there. Oh my gosh, served with the 101st Airborne, the Screaming Eagles, folks, 2nd Battalion, 502 Infantry, the Strike Force. Yes, yeah, what a great unit, what a great story. They called him the Chicken Man. They were scared to death of these guys. And Ed grew up in Vietnam like a lot of my veterans. He was 18, 19 years old. Tells some amazing stories in his first interview, and we have some more stories in the second interview. It's so exciting to share this with you. It's very surreal, just really a blessing. I'm really thankful I got to go to Arizona. And I want to thank Michael and Darlene Sarofsky in Denver, Colorado, and Trish Kerr Hansen Desert Hills in Scottsdale, where we did the interviews. Guys, thank you. I just salute you. Thank you for helping me to bring Eddie's story and doing all the interviews that week down there. And it's because of you we're doing this. Thank you. I do the manual work, I guess, but I need people behind the scenes to help me with the cost of all this work. I also want to thank John and David Penn, Alex Wilbrandt, Marjorie Murray, and SK Offstaff for helping to support my work over the years. Some of my greatest supporters. Thank you guys, gentlemen and ladies. I'm so grateful. My heart's just really thankful and blessed to have you in my life and to see the support you've given me. It touches me, and oh, God will bless you for it. And I just wanted to say thank you as I continue my work. If you want to get involved in a great story, a great project, folks, I invite you to stop right here. This is just a feel-good project. But Michael and Darlene and Trish, thank you so much. I'm going to work with you again. I know I will. And I'm just so glad to bring Eddie's story to you. So, oh, my heart's full, folks. What else can I say about Ed Masterson? He's troubled from the war, like a lot of veterans are, and suffers with PTSD. Lives up in the mountains now with his wife, and just, again, it was such a blessing. We've been in touch over the years, but I'm just happy to bring this story to you now, and we're going to get right into it. So I invite you to share this video, subscribe to this channel if you haven't, and like I said, if you want to help support my work, it's greatly appreciated. And I just salute all my veterans out there, everybody that's told me their story. It was hard for Ed to talk the first time, but he opened up and a weight was lifted off his shoulders. It's very therapeutic to talk like this. Anything, any trauma in your life, any tragedy, it's good to talk about it. So I'm hoping to tell my story. I've been working on this for a number of years. I want to tell my story of how I told their stories. Start writing a book, haven't finished that. Hopefully we'll get a video produced of an interview, a professional interview this year. Capturing Courage on Camera. That's the title, Capturing Courage on Camera. So I might say a prayer for that. I'm hoping to be able to do that. So God bless you. Thank you again for watching and listening. And I present to you my second interview with one of my dearest veterans, Ed Masterson. you know how many years it's been since I interviewed you?
18?
Yes, you got it, 2006.
Yep.
I interviewed you and about a half dozen other Vietnam vets who were all at the premiere when we did the premiere here in 2006.
You took me outside in the heat and wanted to talk to me.
Mm-hmm. So, but it's been 18 years. I don't know if you know it, but your video that I did with you, the interview, you've had about 500,000 views on YouTube.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, my YouTube family that's watched you. So people know you, so they're going to want to see this second interview. Now, we're not going to go through all of Vietnam again. That's not my purpose today. But I just want to first say thank you for coming. I haven't seen you since the premiere that we had here in Phoenix back in 2007. Hanson sponsored that. But how has life been since 2006 when I interviewed you, as far as your personal life? How are you doing now? You've got some, you don't need to go through everything, but it looks like you have some challenges.
Well, I had the severe neuropathy in my legs. My right leg swells up, but they would give me these special wraps. And when I got the ankles replaced, the one ankle, it took care of, I have rheumatoid arthritis in all 4 limbs. My hands froze, this hand froze up. So I just had to fold it up and drive with one hand. And they can't do anything with it because this is the one I got wounded in. And I have to wear these gloves, they help a lot. And the severe neuropathy in all 4 limbs. You know the VA? They bought me a wheelchair that cost more than my 2005 truck. Can you believe that? So that's what's been going on. Got a couple dogs. I always keep 2 dogs around. We had 3. The one female was 5 years old. She got ran over out in the street in Florence. But there was no traffic on it. Just once in a while, a kid will go real fast down the street and hit her, paralyzed her. She couldn't move, and so they took her to Tucson Hospital, and they said that they could keep her alive. But I probably shouldn't tell you this, but you know, she had to get somebody to lift them up in the car because the steps are too hard to climb up. But I'm lucky I can even climb it. So they just, she was laying there looking at me what to do, and all I did is get 2 towels, wrapped around her. I said, okay, you haven't peed in 2 days. I know you need to pee now. And I turned my head, walked around, and she flooded the room. Oh, man. And she looked at me like, wow, thank you, you know? So they had to put her down. If we kept her, we'd have to carry her around. It wasn't worth it. And it was Sharon's dog, and she just...
Tell me how old you are today.
76, November 3rd, I'll be 77.
So you're 76, so you were only 58 when I interviewed you? I guess so.
58, yeah.
Yeah, wow.
I was 58.
And how old were you again when you went to Vietnam?
Well, I got drafted at 18. I was still in high school. They let me finish a year. My dad got me out for another 6 months or so. Had to train somebody. I think I was 19, a little over 19, November of 67. Then I went to Vietnam in 68.
So when you were in high school, did you know about Vietnam, or did your classmates, or did you figure that someday you might be in Vietnam?
Well, we knew there was a war going on over there, and we knew that the 18-year-olds would get drafted. My best friend, Frank L. Dominguez, he's Mexican. He lived in the ghetto. We went to Westwood High School. It was a new school. We went to junior high. We were good friends all through high school. And then one day the counselors called us in. And they said, well, you know what you're doing here? I said, well, sure, I know what we're doing here. We both must have did the same thing, because you never call 2 men in here. and we will be men someday. So what is it? Well, the boundaries have changed, and you can go to Mesa High. I said, good. I'd love to go to Mesa High. That's where my dad graduated in '47. So yeah, I want to go to Mesa High. So we went to Mesa High, and we did good. In math at Westwood, we memorized the answer, like 2 and 2 is 4. We memorized it. So we got 100%. They couldn't believe, they thought we cheated, but we didn't. We memorized the answers. So anyway, he went to Vietnam. He was a medic because he didn't want to shoot nobody. He's such a good kid. And sometime, I didn't know this until I got home, he was killed in '68 sometime, and I didn't know it then, but I knew it when I got home. I saw his family. They just, it was a mess. When one soldier dies, you hurt the mother, the father, the siblings, the aunts and uncles. I mean, 58,479. There's only 122, 23 Vietnam veterans still missing. That's all. There's not no 1,600. I learned so much about the war that I almost know everything about it, because I met a first lieutenant, Bruce Anderson. He was always in trouble. He had long beard, long hair, and he was tall and big, and he'd always get in fights 'cause somebody'd mouth off to him. But I calmed him down. They called him the animal. I said, no. I said, Bruce Anderson, you was a first lieutenant, I'm gonna call you ZZ Top. Oh, he just cheered up. He did. This guy never cheered up before. So we were good friends. He'd come by my house every week for a long time. And then he just said that he's sleeping a lot. His wife said he's sleeping 20, 22 hours a day, gets up to eat, drink water, goes back to bed. Well, he died. He just couldn't take it no more. He was only 70, I think. He said, will you do my funeral? Me, Jerry Amerson, we did his funeral. And he said nobody would be there. Well, Jerry Amerson got a hold of his 2 brothers, his son, the son and his wife, the brother and one wife, and the one brother worked in New York City, the Bronx, was a police officer for 40-some years on the street. He talked like Bruce. I said, man, you talk just like him. And I have some recordings that he would call in artillery. He was calling artillery. He called me on the phone. He would say certain things that, and here comes 101st. I'll play him for you later. But it was just an amazing man. And out of 12 of us that were pretty close together, we know that there's 3 of us left. One in Florida, Milton Corbello. He's not going to come. And he said, I want him to tell one story, and I never told it, about the day we met. Mm-hmm. So.
Well, let's go back to high school. You go to Vietnam. I'm pretty sure I asked this question the first time I interviewed you, but what do you remember about the first time you went to Vietnam? Did you get off a plane, and what did you experience when you went to Vietnam?
Well, it was hot, and it smelled bad, and we could smell diesel fluid. I think the diesel fluid. And found out later that they used that to burn the dump. And we didn't see any American flags until I got to the unit. And it was an awful feeling But we went there 1 week or 5 days. They're going to send us to a unit. And we all wanted to go airbornes. And I'll tell you about that story later. And it was like, when you say airborne, say all the way. I went to a reunion 2 years ago. The last day was August 8th. That was my daughter's birthday. She was 44. And that's the day that Chadwick died. He died of Parkinson's disease. He called me on the phone. He would mumble, but I could understand what he was saying until he was asking me some questions about a wheelchair. His wife was in the background telling me what he was trying to say. And he died of Parkinson on that day. And it just killed me. But he told Rick, the guy that wrote the book on the old dudes, you put these two pictures in, my two pictures, you put us side by side in the book, and tell my story about that. And if you don't, somebody will take care of you. And he put them in there. It was a hell of a story. I can tell you that later. It was just that these guys go. Now Bill Evans in Alabama, I think Alabama, Georgia. He's on oxygen, weighs 300 and a little over 300 pounds. And we stood side by side in Vietnam. He was a sergeant of heavy weapons. And he's on oxygen. I've been trying to call him the last 2 weeks, and he won't answer the phone. I said, Bill, give me your son's phone number next door to you. You live next door. He lives on a river. It's not crowded at all. It's in the jungle. And I said, if anything happens to you, I want them to call me so I can come and beat the hell out of you, bring you back to life. I want to know what happens to you, Bill. I want to come and see you. And he said, well, I'm too sick for you to come and see me. I said, well, let me know when I can come. And he never let me know. 2 weeks, I don't have the number of his brother, so I'm not going to know unless I call Monroe Hospital, because I got his Social Security number and I could find out that way. But that's not the way I want to find out.
So, Ed, you were in Vietnam for one tour, 1 year, right? Okay, so you were there 1 year. 101st the whole time?
The one?
101st Airborne?
Yes.
Screaming Eagles?
Mm-hmm. I was with the 2nd of the 50 Deuce. When I went to this reunion, these captains, I think there was one major, some sergeants, they asked us, we were just a private sitting at the table, why is the 2nd of the 50 Deuce so important? I said, well, did you see Band of Brothers? Yeah. Well, you must have missed a part. What happened? The 2nd 50 Deuce, they all got lost, and one of them teamed up with the 1st of the 506, Dick Winter's group. That was the only two airborne infantry. 1944 went into battle because they trained for 1 year in Currahee, and they were the best. They had the same two units, 506 and 2nd 50 Deuce, artillery, medics. I mean, there's a big unit, but that's all they had. I said, that's what. And then I opened up my little book, and I showed them. I just handed them this paper, and they read it, and they could not believe. They've never seen it. It was orders for the 506 and the 2nd 50 Deuce to go into combat 1944, signed by this Brigadier General. Mm-hmm. I couldn't believe it. I got it off the internet somehow.
Do you ever hear the name Don Burgett? He wrote a book about Currahee. He's with the 506, Don Burgett.
Yeah.
But anyways, he's one of my veterans. I just featured his story on my YouTube channel, so.
Is he still here?
No, he's gone now. But he was with the 506. He's an author. He wrote some books. But anyways, okay, so you're in Vietnam. We're not going to go through everything, but I just wanted to ask you some follow-up questions kind of from our first interview. But, you know, obviously Vietnam has changed you. And when you were there for that whole year, did you ever lose sight of, did you ever get disillusioned, or did you feel like you had a purpose for being in there? Did you have a strong purpose for being there? Or did you lose that?
No, I did, because we were there to help the South Vietnamese. And I have met the South Vietnamese people. My doctor, remember Brian Anders? He married a Vietnamese, and she was 5 years old when she went through the embassy gate, the last one to go through. And she was holding on to a boy's hand that broke off. The boy climbed up, they killed him. But she got through and her mother got through. They came to America. Remember that the captain that spoke at the first one? The guys did not want him to talk. I said, he talks. I have 87 friends and veterans that are going to be here. We won't be here if he doesn't talk. Oh, no, we didn't ask you that. We just want a yes or no answer. I said, well, yes. So they let him talk. That was her uncle. They were related. They haven't seen each other in years. It's just a miracle how you meet people like that. And that was in 75 when that happened.
When you came back from Vietnam, actually, let me say something else. Okay. We're going to jump around a little bit, but
That's okay.
I don't know if I asked you about your last day in Vietnam, but do you remember your last day in Vietnam? And
Oh, yes.
Tell me about your last day.
My last day is when I got this shrapnel or whatever it was that tore my hand up. The old man said, you got to go in. I said, no, I'm not going in. 50% chance of getting shot down going in, 50% chance of getting shot down coming back out. I'm staying here. So the medic gave me a shot, wrapped it up. A couple of days later, he checks it. And the medic goes and tells the old man, you got to send him in. He got gangrene. He'll lose his arm if he doesn't get in now. So when they showed it to me, I said, okay, I'll go in. So I went in to a doctor. I was a nurse of the hospital. He was a major. And I've seen him 6 or 7 times being in Vietnam. Saw him he pulled out that jungle rot. He pulled my fingernails out, wrapped them up, went out the next day. I jumped or fell out of a chopper 40 feet. I thought it was higher than that, but it was only 40 feet. I hit some limbs. I was okay. The chopper crashed and it blew up. But the guys lived. I thought they died, but they lived. And saw him for all kinds of reasons, but just maybe once a month or so, something would happen. I have to go in, but I go back out. This time, I didn't see him, but I was laying in a hospital. 3 doctors, 1 in the morning, 1 at noon, and 1 early afternoon. They all 3 walked by. They all said the same thing. We're going to take your arm off right here. Because they do head wounds and stomach wounds, those guys will die. And they can take it off. The third guy, the third doctor, says, can you come a little closer? I cannot hear you. No, you got to come right up here. I cannot hear for shit. Look at my hand. The green pus is dripping on the floor. They didn't have no cleanup. Blood everywhere. And so he got real close. Grabbed him with my left hand. I put him to my face, and I said, you're going to take it off right now. I screamed it. And the major heard me. He come running down. What's wrong with that? I pointed to him. At first, I let go of the doctor and pushed him away. It didn't hurt him or anything. And I pointed to my chart. He saw my chart. He put me in a little dome where they do surgeries. He said, stay right here. I ain't going nowhere. He came right back with a doctor that'd been doing surgeries for 20 some hours. If you're gonna go take a nap, he said, I can save it. So he saved it. They left a little bandage open. I was in a warehouse. I wasn't in the hospital anymore. I was in this warehouse, and the major was there. He said, we saved your arm. You're gonna be fine. As soon as it gets safe light, as soon as you recover. I threw up. I was a mess. So he said, you're going to take a chopper to Da Nang. Within 10 minutes, you take this card, go in this line. Anybody tries to stop you, you just go this one, this one. He wrote it down and said, this is what you're going to do. And he said, you're not coming back. I said, I am coming. I'll come back. You know I will. No, you're not. So anyway, they sent me to Japan, and Japan's not very far away. The chopper took me, then a plane took me, a small plane took me to Japan, and that's where they got it better, soaked it in hot water 14 days. And then they said, I'm going home on this medevac. This medevac, my last day, I'm going to get on this plane, and it was, I said it was it was a C-5. You know what a C-5 is? It's the biggest plane in the world. They can take tanks. They can take a brigade, a unit over. I got pictures of it. It's so big. I studied that plane ever since it landed because I knew nothing about it. It was terrible. How it made it, I don't know. I know now. But they had 2 soldiers, 2 by 2, in gurneys. I keep thinking in gurneys. 3 high. That's 6 in a row, 5 rows all the way back. It was like a little hospital room that they had bandages to work on them, about 35 nurses. And this plane turned over. I couldn't, and it turned back. It was in the worst storm. I looked it up on the internet. I found out there were 2,000, what do they call them, hurricanes?
Keep talking. Mm-hmm.
2 hurricanes, 20,000 hurricanes from 68 to 69, and they were going through Japan. And on that day, it was a bad one. In fact, we walked out to get on the plane, and I stopped. The captains are getting on there. I said, wait, officers, can I talk to you? I said, do you think you can fly through that storm? I don't think you're going to fly through this one. Oh, we'll fly through it. I said, I don't think so. Well, after 4 hours in the air, they said, we can't go back. We won't make it back. We have to try to get to the United States from here. I couldn't believe it. This intuition thing, I had a talent. And I only used it if I really had to. And even when I got to my unit, I had to use it. And 2 hours, 2.5 hours, I had to go out in the field. And this officer, this sergeant, brings me a 45 and the bullets. I said, I told you I want a brand new M16, not the M16s with the crosses in it. They're bad. They get you killed. I want a brand new one. I trained for almost 11 months. And you're not going to give me my weapon? You're going to give it to me right now. I took the weapon. I don't know if I told you. I threw it in the mud. And he told me to pick it up. I said, I ain't picking nothing up. You're getting me a new M16 now. He says, you know I can court-martial you for that? I says, good. Why don't you come a little closer and you can court-martial me for something else if you don't get me a new M16. And Chadwick said, you better get him an M16. So he went and got me an M16. But he lifted up pellet 1, pellet 2 were not M16s. They were beehive rounds. I could not believe they were beehive rounds. The third one was M16s. He brought me a new one, got my gear, and I went out. It was about 2 hours left before it got dark. I landed. Chadwick said he'd be right back. I was just sitting there, kind of up against a wall where there was a clearing here, left-handed. M16, and this is my safety. I never kept it on safety when I was out there. This is my safety. I pull the trigger, it goes. This kid, I found out his name. His name is Donald Hunt. I tried to get him to come here because he comes here in the wintertime. He said he would, wants to meet me, but I never did because he's always having surgeries and stuff. He calls me a lot. His wife calls me. The first time Donald Hunt called me, you know what he said to me? He said, Bat, we've been good friends for about 15 minutes. We knew each other. One question I have for you. What did you pick up? And I said, nothing. He talked to me for 3 hours or longer. Told me he knew everything about me, and because Chadwick told him about us. We knew about each other. We knew everything. We knew he had 3 children, 2 girls, 1 boy. I had 2 boys and a girl. He knew their names and everything. He wants to meet me. It's just an amazing man. But you know, I couldn't tell the story, Larry, because of what happened. I mean, he lost both legs. He lost a testicle, and he still had 3 kids. He was in Walter Reed Hospital for 3 years. Now, I didn't know that until I found out later. And then his wife calls me for over an hour. And she said, when you talk to him about his girls, don't say anything. Okay, I won't. Because the oldest one would be as old as my son. But she's killed in a car accident at 35 years old. I says, how much can a man take? Well, he's taking it. You know, the Lord said, he's not going to give us anything we can't handle. And that's hard. It's true, but it's hard to believe that. Some people don't believe it, but he's handling it. I tried to call him for 2 weeks too, and I couldn't get a hold of him. So I'm going to keep trying to get a hold of him. And when I went to the DAV, I only had 2 papers, my DD-214 and my another paper had all our names on it. The officer said, I didn't want to go in to see her, but I went anyway. I said, then this guy brought me here so he can come in. Sure. They asked me the first question. Whatever they asked me, I said, huh? And they started laughing. They said, well, we asked you if you could hear very good, and you can't. Ringing in your ear, tendonitis. I said, yeah. And then they said, you know what these 2 pieces of paper are? I said, those are the guys I served with. That was a DD-214. Yes, but what's this paper with all these guys on it? Chadwick's on it. Smitty's on it. Bill's on it. It has the rank on it. They were sergeants. And my name's on there, private first class. It was my combat infantry badge. And they said, you know your combat infantry badge isn't on your DD-214? I don't know. What does it matter? It matters a lot. She got it on my DD-214. It's called a DD-215. They upgraded my medals and stuff that I had. There was quite a few of them. And it's just amazing that I had that piece of paper my whole life. I just had it in my pocket, folded up, and I never threw it away.
So Hunt was the kid, or was Chadwick the kid? Who was the kid you were talking about in your first interview? I thought that was Hunt. That wasn't Hunt?
No, it was a young man. I think he was only 17.
But that wasn't Hunt.
No.
Hunt's the guy that was going to go home in 21 days?
Yeah, he was going to go home
They
and the
threw
next
the,
month.
they threw the potato masher or whatever at him, and
Yeah, and he got blown away.
his legs and...
We thought he died, but he didn't.
Wow.
I mean, how can a guy live through all that?
Who was the kid? I forget the story. You don't tell the whole story, but what happened to the kid?
Well, this kid came to 101st, and when I met him, we became good friends. So he went out to the field. He would go to, he was in Company E. Company E, the Eliminators was Company E. It's usually headquarters company, but it turned into E Company. E Company is Recon, which Chad was in. The other one's heavy weapons. Me and Bill, Smitty, and the rest of us were in. We were in heavy weapons, the 90 millimeter. And this kid, I saw him quite a few times out there, but one time I knew he was getting ready to go into a firefight. And so, yeah, my assistant gunner, I said, get ready to load this because we're going to use it. And this kid ran in front of me. And all these bullets started firing at us. He got hit stomach so bad, he fell back on me, blood, and I just held him. And I knew he was going to die. I just said, your family loves you, and you be with Jesus. I know, that's where I'm going. I'm going to be with Jesus. Will you tell my mom hi for me? I said, sure I will. And a lieutenant or somebody come up and told me, drop him down. I said, not till the medics get here. And I wouldn't do it. The old man said, I'd do anything I feel right to do. And so I held him there, comforted him. And when he died, got up and did what I was supposed to do, but he died, and I feel terrible about that. But when I went to the wall in 2004, at night, me and this Marine, he had patches on, tattoos, he was just a mean sucker, man. And he says to me, he was on the plane with me. I said, yeah. Would you walk the wall with me, just me and you? He was real nice when he got to the wall. I said, sure. So we walked the wall, we talked a little bit. When we got to the corner where it turns, we stopped. He could feel some of the guys he was with. I could feel the kid was right there. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. We couldn't see the names. It's dark. We didn't even try to see him, but I just felt like he was there. So we go back to the room. But when we walked out, it was family night. I didn't know it then. And these two parents said, our teenagers would like to tell you something. Okay. We didn't know what they was going to say. I had no idea. They said, you know, we want to thank you soldiers for being Vietnam veterans and serving our country, and we thank you. We both start crying. We both start crying. We fell apart because we just felt the guys that we were with are there, and these guys that's the first time we've ever been thankful for in 32 years. I couldn't believe it. So anyway, this, that was that.
So-
We went back to the room. I can tell you about the rest of the story.
Yeah.
Mother.
At the wall, the mother. Go ahead.
Yeah, so there was about six or seven 101st guys. They didn't want to go to the Marine birthday party the next day. It's the 10th. Then we're going to go to the wall on the 11th. Well, I'm like a mediator. I kind of instruct them that what they have to do, what they don't do. And I'm pretty good at it without getting into a fight with them. But there was 2 or 3 Marines there. But I said to the 101st, they said, we ain't going to no damn Marine party. And these Marines looked at them like, you know, like they want to fight him. I said, look, calm down. You're going to the party. And if you don't want to go, just come a little closer to me. Well, they went. And this commandant, little guy, he was so good. He had this big, looked like a big dummy that was going to take his place. He said, what do you guys think of my replacement here? We didn't say anything. Had the party, and when he was done, he says, I got one story to tell you before I dismiss you. You see these guys on the second row, the 101st? Well, I'm going to tell you a story about the 101st. I went to Iraq, and I got my ass kicked. And now, wherever Fuji is, I think it says Iraq, Afghanistan, I don't know. He says, I'm going to find out how to fight better. So he got a canteen, got a pack and everything. He was up in the mountains spying on the 101st. He wanted to go, he was going to write down their training. And some MPs come and handcuffed him, took him down to the commander. Said, what are you doing? You're a Marine. What are you doing here? Spying on us. Well, I want to learn how you guys fight. Okay, go down to that tent. They'll get your gears. They got his gear, and he went with them. He said in 2 weeks training, it was the roughest training he's ever had, even in the Marine Corps. He said he couldn't believe how these guys do it. So now he went back to Iraq. He said, I kicked ass because I learned how to fight from the 101st Airborne. They're the most feared unit, and I wanted to find out, and he did. He looks at us. You guys got any questions? You can come up here. I tried to be the first one there, but I was the second one there. And I asked him, I said, this commander here is going to take your place? I says, he ain't going to take your place. Can I re-up in the Marine Corps? He was so shocked. I wanted to be a Marine. I was drafted into the Marines, you know that? And they jerked me out. That's when I got my first fight. But I didn't get to do anything because they grabbed me and said, go get your clothes on. Get on an airplane. You're going to Fort Bliss.
But wasn't there something at the end of that story about the kid and the mother at the wall?
Yes. Next day, went to the wall. I started walking down there. When I walked, in the first, there's little pillars where the names are. The first name I saw was like a David Masterson. I grew up with David Masterson, but he was from the East, and David's from the West here. And I went back to the book, and I wrote down 4 names. Mastersons are on the wall. I wrote them down, wrote their birthdays down, got all the information, went. And as I got down closer to that turn, I could feel this kid, and I could feel, I said, oh no, not the mother, no way. And as soon as I thought the mother might be there, I was on the outside. It was real crowded. I was going through the turn. She ran out. She ran, pushing people over. Let me out. Let me know. That's Masterson. I know it is. And she grabbed me by the arm, and she held onto my arm for an hour and a half. And when I got hurt, but I just let her hold on to it. And she says, do you know where we are? I said, yes, we're in paradise. Yes, paradise for me and you. Did you know I could feel you coming here in the night? Well, when she told me she could feel me coming in the night, I had no idea what that meant until years later. I figured it out. She knew I was coming. I was there at night, so she could feel me coming there at night. I think the wall was dedicated in '82. She went there 4 times a year until I come. She says it took me till 2004. I don't know how many years that is, but she's going to wait till I come there. And she'll probably go back there. She said I come here 4 times a year, 4th of July, Memorial Day, Veterans Day, and I just knew he was going to come on this day. And she was hugging me, and she was just a plain lady, black dress, long hair, no shoes, or tennis shoes that were worn out. And I said, do you need some shoes? I'll give you some money. Oh, no, I got shoes. I just wear these as they're so comfortable. Went to the women's memorial, and she kept telling me, you know, this is paradise for me and you. We need paradise because that's where my kid is. And I said, I need to know your kid's name. Well, we called him the kid. They called him the kid in Vietnam. He wrote me and said that was his name. And you're Bat? Well, I finally figured it out. It was for Bat Masterson. I mean, this lady knew who I was, and how she knew, I have no idea. But I've been so upset ever since I heard that. But I went to my psychiatrist. His name is Gregory Davis. He told me, I said, do I need to go back there? He said, no, she won't be there because you filled her enclosure about her son, because she knew he died in your arms, and that's all she wanted to do, is tell me thank you. And she's going to live a good life now. So get over it. That was I seen Dr. Gregory Davis when I first started, the 1st of 2003 to 2009. And oh my gosh, just 2 days ago, I saw him in Sholo, Arizona, on the tube. He's 65 years old. He says, Bat, wow, you looking good. He said, I know you got a lot of problems. He said, you are so good. You can talk. You cover up the PTSD so well, even though you have it. You cover it up. How you did that? You went to the vet center for 10 years. And I was the instructor's helper. I wouldn't say anything unless she asked me, because I knew the answer. It's amazing. If you study something, you're going to know about it. In fact, the girls at the Southeast Clinic, before it changed over, there were 3 of them, and they called us a 5-star general because Bruce Anderson, they called him a 5-star general of the East, and I was of the West. If I didn't know the answer, he knew the answer. And that's true. It was just amazing how we knew this stuff because we live it, and we still live it. But it was a good war. It was a bad war, but if we didn't go over, we were helping the Vietnamese people. And the other soldiers hated them. Why? They hated them because they had to go to war and do something they didn't want to do. But I loved the Vietnamese people. I mean, the little kids would come up to us, but you got to be careful. If they're holding anything, you got to be ready to kill them because they might throw something at you. But we met a few of them, but not very many, because we stayed out in the jungle more. But what I did not like is some of these units, they burned down their grass homes. Why did they burn them down? Well, I found out later that they burned them down because the gooks and so they would come up. They had underground tunnels everywhere, and they'd make them talk where the Americans are. So they were suffering from the American soldiers and from Viet Cong soldiers, and they didn't know what to do. There was a mess. How can you live a life like that? You know, the kids, their toys are guns, knives, rifles. They could take them apart by 5 years old. They could take them, but they could load them and shoot. Because you kill the parents, the kids are going to kill you. I told the old man, I said, you want my advice on something? I hate this. After the first time, I said, we do not need to come in here. We need to go out and find the NVA soldiers. If there's 3,000 or 4,000, let's go find them and kill them. Because they're the ones that are causing all the trouble. So we did.
I want to ask you a question. In the first interview that I did with you, you made a comment that was very, very powerful when you said, I know I'll probably go to heaven because I've already been to hell. Remember saying that?
Yeah. Well, the things I saw were unbelievable, that no man should ever see what I saw. I saw a rape that I don't really want to talk about, but this sergeant, Vietnamese girls, they see the 101st would throw the food away. They had so much food, they'd wrap it up, bound it up with wires and tin foil, throw it in a dump, and the kids would go down and get it and feed their family. That's great. We can't give it to them, but we can throw it away and they can get it. So that's what they did. When I saw this sergeant raping this little girl, and I don't know, she could have been 12, 13, 9, I don't know. I pulled him off. I lost my mind. I just beat him up. Before I killed him, 2 MPs grabbed me and say, Bat, we know who you are. You can't kill him. Well, I can't. Did you see what he was doing? Yeah, we did. Well then, good. Let go of me and I'll finish him off. They said, no, we will kill him. So they took there was an interpreter that got me off to the side, calmed me down, said, look, come with me. Let them take him. They picked him up and threw him in the back of a Jeep. Can holders, cracked his head open. He's still alive. But I said, well, they'll kill him then if he's cracked his head open. And so the interpreter came to me and said, well, he went to the infirmary and they wired him up so he'll live until these little girls want to come and thank you for what you did. I said, no. I can't go down there. I can't do it. He said, well, you get a good night's rest, think about it. I'll come here early in the morning and we'll go down. You don't have to say anything to them unless you want to say if you want to say something, say Chalco put a plum. So I didn't think I'd say it, but when these girls come to thank me, I mean, they just knelt down and bowed. I mean, they don't have to do that. And one of them just hugged me, crying, she was so happy. The interpreter was telling me what they were saying, the Vietnamese, and they were so happy that I did that. See, because they think I killed him. But what happened was, he's alive. They didn't know it. And when they started to walk away, the interpreter says, wait a minute, Vietnamese. And I said, Chalco put a plug. Oh my gosh, they love it. It beats the best thing for a Vietnamese lady or girl to hear. They love that saying. And then they went away. And then they pulled the plug on the guy. The guy's gone. Now my Sergeant Evans caught him also. But there's no witnesses around. He was going to shoot him. With his 45, bingo. They said he couldn't kill him because there's no proof. But when I found him, of the orders I had, I found him, called him. He wouldn't answer the phone, but he emailed me. It says, you tell me what happened to Radar. Who's Radar? The guy you beat up. Okay, so I briefly typed in what I did, and he called me. Bill called me. It was 20 years ago, maybe 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. But he was glad that he's gone. Mm-hmm. And Smitty's uncle is 84, 85. And he called me when he was 82 and said, Smitty passed away. He was at the hospital, got dressed, walked out, went home, and died. I said, wow. He sent me some pictures. And the pictures, that guy was in there. That's okay. I mean, he's gone and over with it. But to see that is so ugly that, I mean, most men would just fall apart and do, I don't know what they do, but it's the training we had. If it wasn't for the training, we wouldn't have made it. I mean, they really pounded it in your head. They show you films of things that if you get caught, prisoner of war, they're going to do this to you. When they show me a part where they cut this guy's whacker off, cut his tongue out, and sewed it to his mouth, and when I saw that, oh my gosh, that made us so mad. We turned into animals right then. We was ready to go. We still had to go to advanced infantry training first.
I want to ask you how you're doing today with the PTSD, and you mentioned your psychiatrist, but how are you doing today managing that, and if you're working with the VA on that, how are you doing?
Well, my psychiatrists have helped me real well. And I haven't seen one in 6 months, but I got to see Dr. Davis. My wife, Sharon, I owe her my life. Mm-hmm. She calmed me down somehow, and she's real good at it. Mm-hmm. She's a redhead. That's what Chadwick wanted to know. Mm-hmm. See, after that first firefight we was in, Chadwick told me, throw your wedding ring away. I said, really? I'm married. Well, you might not be when you go home. And he said it so intense. After shooting this guy, I threw it away. And he said, you can write her once in a while, but don't dwell on her, because if you do, you won't make it home. So I didn't. Mm-hmm. So I stayed away from all that. And when I got home on that flight, that airplane, I couldn't get off of it, but I did. I was all wet. They changed my gown. When I called on the phone, when she answered, a man answered the phone. That was the end of that marriage. So I was pissed. I was smoking a cigarette. It's the last day I smoked. I was 21 years old, going to be 22, and bang, I just burned myself and never smoked another cigarette again. And so I went out back. They was having a parade. When I got out there, it wasn't a parade, it was demonstrators at the terminal on the other side of the fence. And I walked over to it, see what was going on, and this guy came up to me, and he was going to spit on me, but he threw up on me. I never told anybody that. He threw up on me. I wiped it off, and I said, why don't you climb this fence? He said, that's 14, what's that, 10 feet tall, 14 feet tall, barbed wire? I said, I'll walk you through it. Come on over here and we can finish this. Okay, you damn Vietnam veteran. So he climbed it. He got caught. I said, take your jacket off and slide down. Took his jacket off. He slid down and he got caught. just far enough I could take my right hand. This is all bandaged up. I could take my right hand, boom, boom. When I got him down, I kicked a field goal. He got up because he was so drunk. And I kicked him a couple more times. I just beat him up. I didn't hit him with my fist because my hands were sore from other fights, so I didn't bother with him. I just kicked him. And then 4 MPs come running out there in their Jeep and said, Masterson, could you sit right here on the passenger side? I said, sure. So I sat down, and the driver took me back. The other 2 MPs got out, and and I don't know exactly what happened because the nurses cleaned me up, changed my clothes. When I saw them at lunch or dinner, they said, well, we just opened up the gate and told them to take him to the hospital. And I guess that's what they did. I said, were those guards at the gate or something? Oh no, those are real 2 policemen. They wanted to arrest you. But we told them, oh, you don't want to mess with the 101st. He beats you so bad. And all he has is combat boots on and 1 arm. I don't think you want to fight him, so go home. They just pushed him out the gate and let him go. Take him to the hospital. It's crazy.
I got a question here before we're done. How do you feel about the state of our country right now?
The state?
Yeah, how do you feel about how things are going with our country right now?
Well, Arizona, it's terrible. If you drive around, you can drive from here to Florence, that's 75, 80 miles away. Building, houses everywhere, apartments everywhere, buildings everywhere in the state of Arizona is growing so fast. Even Globe, they're building places, they're building 500 homes in Florence. Nobody goes to Florence except the Country Thunder, whatever that is. But I can't believe it's...
Well, I guess what I was asking was, you fought in Vietnam, others have fought in our wars. I tell people that we're fighting for the same freedoms today in our country that people like you fought for in foreign soil. I think we're losing a lot of our freedoms today, do you?
Yeah. I moved up north because of that. Poor Sharon wanted to move back down here to Florence. I said, I ain't. It's a 1-lane road. I mean, a 2-lane, 1 each way. And it is so packed. It's like driving on the freeway here, but you're going slower. It's building up. So my parents got married there in 1948. Couldn't believe it, because 1948 she was 16 and the judge could marry them in Florence. It's just an amazing town, how everything's been built up so bad, and there's bad people on the street, there's good people. The policemen in Florence love their job, because they don't have to deal with too much. And they said, yet. So they're expecting things to get worse.
A couple questions and we're done. What do you want people in your family to remember about you someday when you're gone?
Remember what?
What do you want people in your family to remember about you someday when you're gone?
You know, the Highlanders in Vietnam, that helped the United States. The old man asked me, see, when they run from us, they run from the chicken man, they go in to Laos. He asked me, you think we should go finish them off? I said, well, can we get back before it gets dark? He said, no. Well, you want to fight in the dark? No. So we didn't go in the dark. We went in the daytime. Daytime, the farmers would run, but they knew we were good people. But on our way back, they'd wave at us. The little girls would wave at us. Now, I went to a junior high school. We went to 2 high schools, but we went to junior high for 4 years in a row before the COBA came up. And I told the story that we went in, finished off the enemy. That's all. No blood and guts, no nothing. And so these two 14-year-old Vietnamese, I knew they were Vietnamese from the highlands. Tall, skinny, pretty girls, 14 years old. They had tears in their eyes. And the teachers holding them, walking up to me. Cadillac's her name. I said, what did I say wrong? Oh, you said the most beautiful story these two girls ever heard, and they want to tell you something. And they told me together. The parents must have taught them this when they were 5 years old. They're 14 now. They thank me for my service. They thank me for my honesty. They thank me for my dedication. They thank me for getting rid of them. Because if we didn't, the enemy, the NVA soldiers would come back and rape and kill their grandparents. I didn't know that, so I looked it up. They were doing it since 1950, but they were sending missiles. Anyway, they said, the chicken man is the reason we're here. 214-year-old. I couldn't do the last class. I had to go outside. My cousin David Masterson had to do it. And he died of Parkinson too last year. So we're all gonna go sometime, but I want to make the best of it and do the best I can do. There's one story I never told nobody. It's a good one. When I had to go in for this jungle rot on my arms and stuff, a captain, they came out and said, why aren't you taking any prisoners? Well, we don't take prisoners. Well, you need to take some. So they got two of them. They were beat up, handcuffed and all that shit. And so they put them on a chopper. And the old man says, Masterson, go get cleaned up. Oh, I don't have to go in. Yeah, you do. So they put me on a chopper. I went in. So these choppers went over the rice paddies. They went up and down. They were trying to flush out the ones that were hiding. And the M60 machine gunners would kill them. But anyway, they went way high up, out of the range where it would get hit. And they were flying in. And they were fighting. And the sergeant got so mad he was going to throw one of them out. He still kept throwing. He threw him out of the chopper. He's dead. I couldn't believe it. And so I thought, well, you going to throw the other one out? But the other one was real still. He didn't say anything. So when they landed, these two officers, I got out on their side. The sergeant got out on the other side. And they asked me, well, where's the two prisoners? I don't know, ask the sergeant. And I kept going. But it's some, things like that happen all the time. I mean, it's just like all the veterans, they have a story to tell. And you've been doing a good job getting them. That one on the medic, oh, about broke my heart. That last one you did on the medic. And when you did the Vietnamese captain that spoke at our reunion, they're all good, Larry. You do such a good job.
Thank you.
And John Penn got all this stuff out of me that I never told nobody.
Tell me about John real quick again.
Well, he called me up one time. I had him on speakerphone. I was sitting on my wheelchair. And he says, you know, Bat, I seen your video 20 times. And I'm going to see it 25 times. I'm going to memorize. He says, I want to come and see you. He was real enthused about it. And Sharon's hearing it. And Sharon goes, John? Is it John or Johnny? Give me your credit card and I'll fly you out here. We will pick you up and we'll take you back. Well, you live 150 miles from the airport. That's nothing. We'll drive you down and pick you up. When you want to come, we'll make arrangements. We'll make arrangements now. So we took a week's vacation, came out to see me, and he was a fun guy. I mean, I was so comfortable being around him. Now, he has a daughter that says, you gonna go see a Vietnam veteran? They're mean. You might get hurt. Oh no, this guy is a miracle. I want to see him so bad. So he came to saw me, and now I told him about the reunion. I sent him the flyer on it on my phone. He couldn't go before, but now he can. I'm going to meet him in Springfield, Missouri, in August 7th. Anyway, for a week, we're going to have they're having a reunion during the week. They're not going to have it on a weekend no more. So you're going to rent a car, we're going to drive around the first day or the last day. He'll love the reunion.
Well, that's how John met you, is through the work that I've done. So
I know.
I'm happy that he found you and your story and came out and saw you and going to go to the reunion. And I just wanted to tell John that he supports my work. John, we love you and we thank you for helping support this great work. So he's a great guy.
He's a truck driver. He drives a truck, Argon. He drives Argon. Mm-hmm. You know that? Mm-hmm. Man, he drives it by the 101st Airborne, home of the Airborne. He drives by there, talks to him. He says, yeah, ever since I met you, if I see a soldier, I'll stop and give him $20. He's such a nice guy.
I want to end with a salute again. When I ask you, could you look into the camera and do another salute like you did the first time? Go ahead, whenever you're ready.
A bit.
Okay, sir, thank you. Just wanted to roll the video here. Shake your hand again, brother. I love you.
I know, you're good.
Thank you for your service in Vietnam, and thank you for coming back and talking to me again. It means the world to me, and I'm going to be praying for you. And you're a great man. You're a hero to me, brother. Give me a big smile, Ed.
Oh, Larry, you do so good.
Well, I'm here with my buddy Ed Masterson. We've reunited here, folks. And he's one of my warriors. He's one of my heroes. And we're all going to go to heaven someday. So we'll have a great reunion in heaven with everybody.
We'll meet there someday.
Amen, brother. Okay, one more hug, brother. God bless you. Love you. Love you, Ed.
Take care, man. Arizona weather's good right now, but it's gonna get hot soon. But I'll be up north where it's cool.
I love you.
Love you too. You take care.
We'll be in touch.
I did the story okay.
You did good. You did good. I'm gonna give you a kiss.
It's okay, man. I
love you, brother.
I love you, man. You're a good man.
Okay.